welcome back to Daytona DMAX racing in the 2017 season. It's round 7 and we're back at Sandown Park for the alternate layout, very different to what we had racing back in March, and we've got a very different spread of drivers here, of course, battling for position. Bobby Trunley still holding that championship lead, with Tor Ryan and Alan Curtis trying to stay in touch. 6 drivers in the battle for the remaining positions in the top 6, so that's going to be particularly interesting. But Bobby Trunley has already come out the box in qualifying and grabbed pole position by less than a tenth of a second. Let's see if we can grab him as he comes straight off the kart. Bobby, that is an absolutely incredible lap and barely anything in it.
Yeah, I mean, it was very close, obviously, between the whole pack, all the karts, and everyone's producing very close laps. I haven't seen the times personally, but I think everyone was well paced because I wasn't really gaining on anyone. So, very good karts today and good drivers as well. Everyone's up their game and see what the race brings.
Well, to give you that news flash, 5 of you in the top 5 covered by 0.07, so it really is absolutely incredible today.
Yeah, oh Mike. I'm shitting myself.
Okay, there's that. Let's have a word with Mike Coppin right up there in the fight as well. Mike, good to see you back at Daytona Sandown Park. How are things after quali?
It was good, mate. My qualifying has been absolutely terrible this year. I qualified second behind Bobby at round 1, and I think that my best qualifying after that has been P10. I've just qualified awfully. So to get P2 is pretty good. Sets me up well for the race. It's going to be a long race. I'm still sort of feeling the rib a little bit after Wilton, but joys of a rib protector will be fine. So I wasn't feeling it really during the quali, so it should be fine for the race. Yeah, so looking forward to it.
And of course, it's a very different track to the main circuit that we had back in March. So how have you prepared for this one by comparison?
I'm not a bigger fan. I'm not a huge fan of the GP circuit. I don't know if it's my driving style or not, but I much prefer the technical layout of this one. So for me, I don't think there's a huge amount of prep you can do. A little bit of video researching, but it's all feel. So you're feeling it in the kart. Where's it biting? Where's it understeering? And going from there. So as I said, I quite like this track. Certainly on this alternate layout. So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Jordan, you've had seconds, you've had thirds all season long. Do you think it's going to finally come good for you here at Sandown?
I mean, let's hope so. I mean, I'm still itching for one yet at the minute, so we'll see what we can do. I mean, 11th place, not what I was expecting, but it's a long race, so we can see.
And we've seen that, like Wilton Mill, for instance. You came scything through the field out of nowhere, and people were just like thinking, where has he got this turn of pace from? And when you're all in the same equal machinery, it must be a pretty good buzz to get that result after, you know, being way down the order.
Absolutely, yeah, it's always a good boost, but again, a circuit I've never been to before for the first time, so we'll see what we can do. Obviously, not predicting nothing, but just move forward, that's all I can do.
All the very best of luck, Jordan. So, Jordan Taylor, one to watch. So, you must be pretty happy with that qualifying result, Chris, after what's been a difficult season for you so far.
Yeah, I'm here to enjoy it this year. Like I say, I had a year out more or less yesterday. I've won the championship and the lights a lot, so I just want to enjoy the racing. I was hoping it was going to be raining today, so I even enjoy it even more in the wet. So, but to be honest, the sun, I don't know if it was my rear tyres sliding, so I feel I'm struggling, sliding on the exit, the corners, not getting the traction. So if I can live with Bobby and I forget his name. Mike.
He'll love you for that.
Yeah. If I could live with them in the tow and that, maybe I can do something in traffic and that.
One thing I've got to ask Tor, in particular with the Enduro race, and obviously we've got sunshine here this morning, it's bone dry, but it's going to get hotter as the race goes on. So obviously stamina is going to be at a prime in this race. Do you think that's where you can come good?
Fingers crossed, I'll keep myself fit, so hopefully some of the front boys wear out. Not that they will. As we've seen in previous races, they're quick throughout the hour, so yeah, fingers crossed. Maybe even a kart failure, that'd be nice.
Well, you never know. Good luck, Tor. Have a good one.
Thank you, cheers mate.
So really, I think that wraps it up for our pre-race ritual here at Daytona as always. But sun's out. I think we're going to see the times drop as the race progresses, not just in the inters, but as we go through the day. I think that's going to be a very exciting proposition. Times will drop, gaps will get even closer during qualifying, but also the racing will be fantastic, as we've always seen, especially this season in DMAX, Jake.
Absolutely. It's game time for round 7 of the championship. Drivers, to your karts. Okay, so a slightly delayed start because of a couple of issues on the starting line there, but once the drivers get themselves up to speed, we will be ready to go. And it's, of course, a rolling start, as always, on this 45.5 second lap if the drivers are at their absolute ultimum. And here they go, warming up the tyres, getting the brakes up to temperature and starting to feel their way around the circuit on this magnificent, gorgeous August day. And this is really going to come into play as the track temperature increases, as the day proceeds. We're going to get some really tough racing from the drivers out there as the limits of adhesion continue to increase. And the drivers will find it very tough. Let's talk you through the grid. Bobby Trunley and Mike Coppin on the front row of the grid, from Chris Hackworth and Anthony Kirk on the second. Chris Alcock and Tim Ellis are on the third. James Perry and Tor Ryan, second in the championship, are on the fourth. Joe Ellis and Daniel Russell round out the top 10, from Jordan Taylor and Seb Cook. Third in the championship, Alan Curtis will share row 7 with Philip Senior. Curtis Mitchell and Lee Carey are on row 8. Then it's Tom Eastwood and Nigel Foote, Stuart Shearman and Renault F1 personnel Andy Stobart, and Paul Mason and John Donnelly on the back row of the grid. If you ever wanted to know what F1 personnel do in the summer, well, if you ask Andy Stobart, they go racing in DMAX.
Exactly, and he did that last time out at Wilton Mill, and actually was, did himself credit.
So let's bring the cars up to a rolling start. It's a little bit hectic at the back, but as they come out of that final hairpin, it will only be about 5 seconds or so before they get the go procedure. The green flag is ready to wave. It's going to be Trunley and Coppin from the front. Hackworth, Kirk, Alcock, Ellis, Perry, Ryan, Ellis and Russell. Green flags and away we go. It's a very short run into the first turn, and Trunley's got an absolute flyer. Coppin slots into second position nicely. Hackworth there in third as they work their way through beautifully through the first couple of corners. No incidents, no argy-bargy, and everybody knows this is an Enduro, not a sprint, so they cope very well on the first lap.
We definitely know it won't be one on the first lap as they're heading into the far part of the circuit through a couple of technical, tight, twisty sections. We see that a lot of tracks that we've been on at DMAX this year have shown quite a few infield and outfield hairpins, Jake.
Now they come onto the back straight. This is where the speed really rises, and Trunley has got himself a couple of kart lengths into this pit bend. We may see a few drivers losing it. This is a very tough braking zone as they come up to the top speed of the kart, then drop down into one of the slowest corners on the circuit. But everybody sorts themselves out nicely at the end of the first lap. It's Trunley who leads it, Coppin in second, Hackworth in third, so they are as they started. Kirk fourth from Alcock, Ellis, Perry, Tor Ryan still there in 8th position, Joe Ellis 9th, and Jordan Taylor has risen up 1 to 10th position.
Already he's started making his way, trying to side through the grid, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get the kart settled and get the right purchase. But also, as we talked about earlier, curb warnings will be rigorously enforced this weekend, Jake, with 3 warnings as we've got a yellow flag on the far side of the circuit.
Okay, so we've lost one up at turn 4. Not entirely sure who it is that's gone on that part of the circuit. We'll pick it up in a moment. But Trunley, Coppin, Hackworth, Kirk, Alcock and Ellis remain in that position as they work their way through at the end of the second lap. Nice gentle start to the proceedings. It's not going to stay gentle. They're all going to start making manoeuvres for position, and they'll pick off one at a time. Fastest lap of the race so far, Chris Hackworth. He's done a 46.1 this early in the race. That is pretty incredible, the pace that we've got.
Well, he did admit to us that he is just out to enjoy the racing. He knows that his title hopes have been thrown asunder with a couple of no-shows, but also the fact that he's had a bit of bad luck. But there's also a nice emerging battle at the moment for 14th between Curtis Mitchell, Alan Curtis and Lee Carey as well. So a little bit of contretemps there, but everyone's keeping it nice and clean, making sure the overtakes are done at the right point, but making sure they look out for track limits.
And it was John Donnelly and Nigel Foote who went off at that point on the circuit on the second lap. So they're the ones who are now trying to recover it. Through come the drivers as they battle away for position. That was a little bit tricky as they came through at the tail end of the field. That is the battle for 16th, 17th, I think, between Lee Carey and Tom Eastwood as they came through.
We also had Alan Curtis ahead of the pair as well. So, Lee Carey's actually now jumped up to 15th ahead of Alan Curtis last time around. So, Alan's got a bit of work to do, but there's still plenty of time left in this race.
And the thing is, being down in 16th position when the driver's battling for 4th.
Yellow flags, Jake. Yes. Yellow flags.
Yep, yellow flags have gone there as a little slip up. It's only a temporary glitch, so only a few places lost. Here come the leaders into the pit lane bend. Trunley, Coppin has now got Hackworth breathing down his neck as he almost spits exhaust fumes trying to get past him. They come into the final hairpin, and Trunley, look, he's just doing what he does best. Bobby Trunley is literally just kicking on, eking out that gap.
It's Tor Ryan and James Perry, but closing hot on their heels is Jordan Taylor. He's made up another place up to 9th ahead of Joe Ellis.
Yeah, Jordan Taylor really having a good run actually this time out, and it's good to see as he continues to push on. Joe Ellis there running through in 10th position behind.
Dan Russell, Seb Cook, Philip Senior, Curtis Mitchell and Alan Curtis down in 15th position still. Really struggling on the alternate layout here at Sandown Park. Not getting the consistency he needs and certainly not finding the pace he deserves to find. So it's a really tricky race out there as those two right at the back, John Donnelly and Nigel Foote, having had that incident on lap 2, are just battling with each other now for 19th position, having a bit of fun out there. All chance of a decent run in terms of a high finish gone, but they're having an absolute barnstormer out there, just battling away. But look at the pace Trundley's picking up out in front. Trundley is away with the fairies out in the lead of this race. He might as well be in Brooklands, he's that far ahead.
Well, Saul Ryan's having a really ding-dong battle there.
Yeah, he's trying to get past Tim Ellis to get into the top 6. He's working his way on the inside. The magic comes in the final turn and he's there on the inside, trying to give as little room as he has to. Ellis trying to come back on the inside. Ryan shuts the door and that now leaves Joe Ellis in the clutch of Jordan Taylor, who's going to try and come through on the inside. Can't quite make it stick at turn 2, so now he's going to try up towards turn 4 into the left-hander. They've come out of the flick into turn 4, but Tor Ryan, the crucial thing there, has got into 6th position and now he's got clear track in front of him to close up on the leaders. Inside, that is the move from Jordan Taylor. He gets the move on. He gets the move there on Tim Ellis, but Ellis is going to try and get him straight back again. And
James Perry's trying to go up the inside as well.
He's trying to hang it to the outside and get back on the inside line, and that's going to give the door open for James Perry. Perry's going to get through as well here, up into 8th position. He's still on the inside line for turn 4, so this is Perry up into 8th place. Good move from both of them.
He's trying to keep off Hackworth, Kirk and Alcock at bay.
I'd say it's more than that, because Coppin's really struggling to defend from Hackworth at the moment. I think he's opened up the gap even further. Yes, he's made up another 1/10 of a second or so as Trundley continues to kick on, but this second position battle is starting to intensify. Coppin, Hackworth, Kirk and Alcock. But Hackworth is doing exactly what he needs to at this point. He's not making a crazy lunge up the inside of Mike Coppin. He's not weaving around all over the place. He's just sitting on his gearbox. He's letting Mike Coppin sweat. He's making Mike do all the hard work and he's just allowing Mike to run the car down. He's preserving his tyres, his brakes. He's actually keeping a little bit of fuel in reserve as well by following in his wheel tracks. That makes a lot of difference in the endurance of it. So he's actually keeping himself very nice and tidy there in 3rd position. This is advantage Hackworth. Coppin's having to do all the legwork.
As they come through the final turn at the moment, down the straight they go. Taylor's got a good run on Tor Ryan going into the first turn, but Ryan's actually making that car pretty wide.
Oh, that's Curtis Mitchell. And that's going to get Jordan Taylor through. Jordan Taylor through on Tor Ryan. Tor Ryan stays alongside him. And he's going to try and shut the door, squeezes him out. Now, that was good thinking there from Jordan Taylor. He suddenly realised that that incident was going to happen and it was going to escalate if he didn't back out of the chase and try again. So now he's going to do that. And Jordan Taylor, I have to say, we joked earlier, we did say it's not the IMSA Jordan Taylor, but he's looking like it at the moment. He's in real hustle mode.
And he's still on the back bumper of Tor Ryan, thinking about a move into paddock, but doesn't quite make it stick. He's going to go round the final turn. He'll get the toe coming out of that corner as James Perry is sort of dropping both Tim Ellis and Joe Ellis.
He's going to try on the exit, look. He's going to try on the exit of Tor Ryan and make a move onto the inside of turn 1. Tor Ryan blocks the cover. Beautifully done. And now he's going to try and dive up the inside. That's beautiful. Well read from Jordan Taylor. He squeezes Tor Ryan wide. Tor Ryan, hand in the air. Come on. He just nudged me into the tyres, but he's through clean and safe. Now the question is, as now Perry gets through. Perry gets through and up into 8th position. So that's what it's cost Tor Ryan. Now Tor Ryan's going to have to try and come back through again, but the question is, what will the officials think of that move from Jordan Taylor? Because I think it was marginal, but whether they'll agree that Tor Ryan left him no room at all, we'll have to look at it on the replay. It's tricky to judge because this is the thing. They're both going for a legitimate move. Tor Ryan has made that move a number of times on that corner in the past. But you can argue, he will argue, that he's been run out of road there by Jordan Taylor. But at the end of the day, it's his decision to keep his foot on the throttle and try and get it back. So who do you go with? Who do you side with?
It could be classed as a racing incident. You know, the tyre contact might have been absolutely minimal for it to happen, but it's going to be his words against his words in this one, I think, Jake.
It's a really tricky one to decide, that one. It's a long race. Side by side, Hackworth is going to make the move for Coppin. Here we go, they're going to be side by side on the run down to turn 4. Hackworth is still there on the inside line and he's made the move. He's obviously realised Kirk is getting too racy. I've got to make this move. I've got to take the lead in the queue, and he's done it. So now Hackworth up to 2nd position. Coppin, Kirk and Alcock chasing him now.
And in terms of the battle for 7th position, James Perry's still got a little bit of a gap between himself and Tor Ryan, and they've dropped both Joe and Tim Ellis in the process.
Oh, look at Hackworth defending like crazy as Coppin tries to come through on the inside line. Oh, he nearly collides with him as they come through the final turn. Now Kirk is going to try and make the move on Coppin.
Don't forget about Alcock.
down the inside. Alcock makes the move on Kirk, and that was beautifully done as they come across the line.
Tor Ryan's right on the back bumper of James Perry, going through the final turn as we speak. Goes right up the inside. Brilliant move, side by side on the run down to turn 1. Tor Ryan, I think, has got the inside line for this one. Makes the move stick, makes the cart as wide as possible through into turn 2. Nice job, Tor Ryan, for 7th place.
Superb. That was a jammy dodger of a move there, right on the inside as he made it absolute mincemeat on the inside. Out of the hairpin they come onto the back straight. Trundley, head down, getting on with it, trying to gain some speed. It's all changed further back. They've got Andy Stobart to lap, and look, Chris Hackworth has not only got through but made up some ground as he drops Coppin. Coppin is struggling to hang on in front of Chris Alcock now. Alcock up into 4th position, he's jogging on, but look back, Jordan Taylor is right there.
Alcock's nearly side by side with Mike Coppin as the pair head down into turn 1 with Andy Stobart just ahead. Chris Hackworth has got some distance between 3rd, 4th
Look,
and 5th
Jordan
there.
Taylor is only about a second behind them now. This is going to be a 5-way scrap.
1.2 seconds. I told him he was closing the gap. Here we go. It's going to be on. Jordan Taylor is going to be gunning for at least the podium.
This is where the hard work starts.
Alcock's really pressurising Copping again as Anthony Kirk's still waiting in the wings. Look at Jordan Taylor.
He's going for it. Alcock down the inside of Coppin, and he's through. Coppin's now going to try and get him on the undercut. And look, Alcock's got the cheek and the nerve to say to Coppin, come on, work with me, we can catch up to Hackworth. But no, Coppin has other ideas.
And Anthony Kirk's in there as well, ready to pounce.
Absolutely amazing. Guys, you should not be fighting at this point. You need to work together. You need to close up on Hackworth. This is how you're going to win the race.
But I think this is going to be to Jordan Taylor's advantage here, Jake, because as we said, he's been closing over the last 23 minutes, and now he's in that prime position where he's got 3rd, 4th and 5th all squabbling, and he was just 1.17 seconds. But look at the gap now. Look at the gap. That is remarkably different. But Jordan Taylor is right on the back bumper of Anthony Kirk and Mike Copping. So watch out, guys. You've got a battle on your hands right about now. As Jordan Taylor throws it up the inside of James Perry. Anthony Kirk going into turn 2.
And Kirk isn't happy about it. Look, his hand is in the air. He nudged me. He shoved me out the way. Is basically what that hand gesture means. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, we couldn't see it from that point. We'll have to look at it again to see, was there contact made to make the move? And that is, of course, where the incidents will be recorded. We were told this morning by race control, if it's avoidable body contact to make up a position, then that's going to be judged. We don't know. We think it was absolutely clean, though, because Kirk is obviously registering that it wasn't a clean move. But according to race control and the marshals around the circuit, they say no problem. As they come out of the hairpin, down the short stretch over the line, into turn 1, Jordan Taylor starting to really look resolute in his attempt to get past Coppin, and he throws it up the inside of turn 2 and gets through. Leaves very little room for Coppin to manoeuvre, but that's a clean move, perfectly done. And now it looks like Jordan Taylor up into 4th position with Kirk trying to make the same move on Mike Coppin.
Well, we did say that he would scythe his way through the field from 11th now into 4th place.
Into the hairpin. Sorry, Alex, it looked to me as though Anthony Kirk was going to try and make the move on the inside of Coppin and then thought better of it, had to bail out. So watch him as he comes down the pit straight. Coppin getting very racy behind Jordan Taylor. He does not want to drop to 6th position. He wants to try and get back past Jordan Taylor before that happens. So watch the final turn because we may see a move or two. Look, throws it up the inside, a little bit too eager. He's going to run wide,
Anthony
and there goes Kirk.
Side by side into turn 1. Kirk makes the move stick past Mike Copping. There's a little barge there, but I think there was a little bit of contact.
Well, Kirk put his hand in the air as if to say, I'm sorry, that was just an accident, and I think that's the fair position there. I wouldn't say that was Kirk's fault, but he recognises we shouldn't have tangled there. Apologies, let's move on. One day he looks like Usain Bolt in the sprints, and the same day he ends up looking like Mo Farah, the king of Enduros. He's absolutely on it and looking absolutely beautiful as he works his way through the traffic once again. Lee Carey is his next opponent as he comes up to lap him, but Bobby Trunley in 2017 in the Enduros absolutely impervious as he makes his move up the inside. This guy is making it look like child's play out there. That's broken the rhythm. Hackworth knows he's coming. Here he goes up the inside. Thank you very much. No, they're going to try and hold it and resist. Brilliant. Hackworth holds onto it, resists. Still Alcock comes through on the inside. Not sure, that might have been track limits on the inside line. I can't quite call it. but that was very tricky. But Alcock is thrown into second position for the moment, and I think that's any chance that either of them have had to go for the victory gone. Tor Ryan in 7th, James Perry is 8th, Seb Cook is 9th, and oh, something's fallen off the car. That's Tor Ryan.
That looks like an exhaust shield there, Jake.
Exhaust shield has fallen off Tor Ryan's car. Now surely that is going to be game over. He knows it. He knows it.
Yellow flags are out.
Yellow flags are out. Tor Ryan knows he's got a problem with the car. He bangs the steering wheel down the main straight in frustration. I can't believe it. Tor Ryan fighting for the championship in second position. Surely that is going to be Tor Ryan's race over.
I can hear the exhaust on Tor Ryan's car.
Yeah, that's going to be right. So at the moment they are discussing it in race control. I kind of hope they leave him out there, because in terms of the championship fight, that would pretty much end the dream for the moment for Tor Ryan. He would have to hope for a problem for Bobby Trundley. And that was what he was saying, wasn't it? Tor Ryan was hoping for maybe a kart failure from someone up the road. He certainly wasn't hoping for it from him. As they battle away for position, Hackworth dives up the inside. Here we go.
And Alcock tries the switchback, nearly throws it round the outside, going into the penultimate turn. The trio go through.
Taylor makes the move on the inside, up to third. Jordan Taylor gets third position. Now it's game on. And they're not moving over, are they? Here comes Jordan Taylor at the inside for second place. He uses the back marker to his advantage. Dives at the inside of Hackworth. Jordan Taylor has now come from 11th to 2nd. What a drive. Andy Stobart moves out of the way to stop the second place battle getting held up. Good work there from Stobart. Hackworth's going to come through. So too is Alcock. Nicely done. Jordan Taylor, crucially, is starting to defend. It's too early, Jordan, to defend in this race. You've got another couple of minutes yet of running on the racing line. If you defend too early, you start to counteract your position. The tyres start to cool a little too early. You need to be a very, very minute way over the line, but you certainly don't need to be in full defensive mode this early. And look, Chris Hackworth has actually caught him up in the bid to close up.
Oh, and there's a nice move, brilliant move there by Joe Ellis on Seb Cook there for 9th place, coming down off the back straight.
Now Seb Cook tried to get back on the inside and is actually bouncing his way on the inside in the final turn. He nudged him through the second part of the apex, then threw it up the inside, couldn't get through, had to back out of it. A little bit of desperation there maybe from Seb Cook.
And Seb Cook's trying to force the issue going through turn 3, which I think he has done. No, he hasn't. Joe Ellis is still keeping him ahead going into turn 4. The pair now come down the slight straight towards turn 5, and I think it's still Joe Ellis up ahead. So this is a really interesting battle now for 9th place, and this could help Tim Ellis capitalise and get a little bit of a clawback. The gap between himself and Seb Cook last time round was just under 1.5 seconds, but this battle for 9th place is going to be one that we do need to watch, and I'm going to be keeping my eyes on it, Jake.
Joe Ellis and Seb Cook, as they squabble away around the circuit into the final turn, they continue to battle on. Up and over the circuit, beautiful pictures from the drone as it flies neatly over the Sandown Park circuit, one of the most beautiful in the country. As they come down the back straight, really exciting run this from Bobby Trundley. The gap is reasonable enough now, 3.3. Well, 3.3 the gap has come down now. Just under 6 minutes to go. Bobby, don't ease up just yet, my friend. Keep pushing, keep going, because there's a chance. Yellow flags. That's one of the back markers off of turn 4. So somebody has gone there on the way into turn 4. Bobby Trundley has to come off the throttle as they go through. Look, the gap is visually smaller. Bobby's got to keep pushing out. He's got to keep on with this.
And Jordan Taylor's got to get past Alan Curtis very, very quickly in order to facilitate a charge towards the lead of this race.
And he's got his hand in the air. Look, that man should be moving over. Blue flags. Get out the way. Get out the way. I'm trying to win a race here. Thank you. No help you were. Gap down to 1.9 as Taylor genuinely thinks he can win this one.
And coming down into paddock, Joe Ellis gets a bit sideways there, allows Seb Cook to close up momentarily. The pair are nearly bumper to bumper going through the final turn. Seb Cook still has time. He's got about just under 3 minutes to try and get back into 9th place, having started from 12th. But this gap between Bobby Trundley and Jordan Taylor is literally reducing hand over fist, Jake.
Yeah, it is, but Bobby looks like he's on a faster lap this time, so I think he's going to ease the blow a little bit as he comes out of the final turn and over the line this time by, I think he'll be on a much quicker lap. Yes, he's done a 45.9 compared to Taylor on a 45.6. The gap still coming down though. 1.7 is now the gap. If it gets tight enough at the wrong part of the circuit, Trundley could lose this. He needs to keep pushing on here. 2.5 to go.
As Seb Cook is really, and that's another bit of sideways fleck action there from Joe Ellis coming into paddock. So he's really got his battle with Seb Cook well and truly ignited as they come down the start-finish straight heading into turn 1.
Well, Trundley's got Lee Carey in front of him. Lee Carey needs to get out of the way quickly. Oh no, sorry, that's not Lee Carey. That's the 32 of John Donnelly, who now gets out of the way. That's crucial. I think Trundley's just bought his ticket to the victory right there by getting through at that moment. I'm not sure Jordan Taylor's going to catch him with enough time to do anything about it.
But also Jordan Taylor's got some breathing space between himself and Chris Hackworth because Alan Curtis being there as well.
Well, the gap is now down to 1.5, so Taylor is still catching Bobby Trundley. This is agonising. Bobby Trundley's led every single metre of this race so far. He cannot afford to lose it in the last few seconds of this race. He's got to keep pushing on. The heat is intense. The energy levels are incredible. And these guys have been working so hard. But Jordan Taylor is convinced, I can beat Bobby Trundley in a straight fight. I can catch him. I can get the job done. But crucially, he's been held up by the back marker up down the back straight there a little bit. So I'm not so sure he can. We're going into the final couple of laps of this race. 2 to go by my math. And this is going to be tough for Bobby Trundley to hang on to with Jordan Taylor in this kind of mood. So Bobby Trundley has a lap and a half left of this race. He's going to do enough here, I think. I can't see him losing it now. There is only a few kart lengths between him and Jordan Taylor, but for my money, it's enough. Bobby Trundley is going to cross the line this time by to go into the last lap. Here we go. And Bobby Trundley just needs to keep it on the black stuff for one more time around. He has got a slower kart in front of him, but even with Jordan Taylor closing the gap down to 1.4.
Hang on, Jake. There's a battle emerging between Chris Hackworth and Chris Alcock.
Oh, here we go.
Podium position. The pair are heading down into turn 4 as we speak.
Well, they saw the last lap board, so they know this is the moment to go for it. Hackworth defending like crazy from Chris Alcock, and he knows he's got to. Bobby Trundley laps the back marker. That, for me, has got the victory won, but third position very much up for grabs as Alcock flows through the right-hander. Down the back straight they will come. Hackworth moves across, defends like crazy. Here he goes. Is Alcock going to find a way round the outside? No, he's not. Hackworth's going to go. Watch for the final turn. We'll try and keep an eye on it, but Bobby Trundley takes the checkered flag and wins from Jordan Taylor. Brilliant victory, and third position will be Chris Hackworth. He makes it to the third step of the podium. Magnificent racing. Trundley wins it. Taylor second, Hackworth third from Alcock, Anthony Kirk and Mike Coppin. What a race.
That was a cracking race with Tor Ryan putting a notable fight back despite that drama with about 20 minutes or so remaining of the exhaust shield coming off the back of his kart to take 7th ahead of James Perry, with Joe Ellis battling Seb Cook for the last 20 minutes or so. Great battle between the pair for what was effectively 9th. Seb Cook was 10th ahead of the number 27 of Tim Ellis. Alan Curtis, great little fight back, didn't make inroads as we potentially hoped, from 15th to 12th ahead of Tom Eastwood. Philip Senior, Daniel Russell, Curtis Mitchell, who parked it earlier on to switch karts, ended up 16th ahead of Lee Carey, with Stuart Shearman. Renault Sport Racing's Andy Stobart did a credible job getting into the top 20, having qualified 20th, finished 19th ahead of Nigel Foote, John Donnelly and Paul Mason.
That was a tough one for Bobby Trundley, but a very good victory nonetheless. Great run from Jordan Taylor. Chris Hackworth in a very solid third. I'm delighted that Tor Ryan was able to finish his race in 7th position. That keeps the championship hopes alive for a little while longer. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, your top 3 once again. Chris Hackworth, Jordan Taylor, and your race winner, Bobby Trundley.
Enjoy.
Chris Hackworth, that was a really tough race. There were some cracking good battles all the way through. How did you keep it all together?
Yeah, it was a really close race. I really enjoyed it. It was, after qualifying, I thought the tyres a little bit sliding, and throughout the race they still were, but I was in third, Mike Coppin and that behind him. Bobby was staying just in front, but it's just a cracking race, like I say. And then I finally got by Mike, and then it was a battle with, I forget his name.
Chris Alcock.
All race. And then I heard Jordan coming, like I say on the radio, that Jordan was coming really quick, so I didn't think I'd hold him off, but I tripped up a little bit on the back mark and he got me there, and then to hang on to third was still, enjoyable race.
Great racing, Chris. Fantastic job in third position. Let's move over to our second place man, Jordan Taylor. Oh, he's decided to climb up onto the top step to get what that feels like. You almost got there, actually. You were only about a second and a half off him at the flag.
I know, it's, just run our laps, really. It was good fun. It was nice battling with Chris. So, yeah, chuffed
You really got into the flow of the race quite early on, I have to say, and once the pace was there, you just ended up finding more and more time.
Quite surprising. I mean, I suppose myself sometimes, but yeah, I love that. It was a good run, and yeah, I just knew I needed to stay smooth, so to be moving shout of the podium. So I'm glad I did that.
And next time it'll be one step higher.
That's what they've said all season. So we'll see. We'll see in the heats.
Good job, man. Fantastic drive. Right, let's get the man who is on the top step of the podium. Oh, honestly, Bobby, you are delighted with this, aren't you, mate? This is such a hard race to win.
Nice to see you back.
Well, I'm delighted to be back, especially, mate, when you're pulling off race drives like that. That was so well composed in the midsection.
Yeah, I mean, just got to maintain the pace, try and manage the gap between the others. I mean, when Jordan came through the field, oh my goodness, it scared me. But he nearly had me. In one more lap, I think he would have had me because I was doing everything I can. Cracking race all round. Great racing between Mike, Chris and Chris. But obviously, it's just a hard work, really.
And the championship lead increased at a critical moment in the season as well. It's almost one hand on the trophy time.
Never say never, though. Anything can happen. I mean, we all know the saying. If I had bad, because I've already had bad 2 rounds. If I have another bad one, we don't know. No one knows. Still wide open.
Fantastic job. Brilliant work, Bobby. Let's go and find Alex Goldschmidt, who's got a couple more of the drivers from the race.
Mike, now, you had a disaster at Wilton last time out. You still got a little bit of suffering with the rib, but to come back with a 6th place finish, despite putting it on second, I take it you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed. You thought, well, hang on, I've been gunning for an Enduro win all season, and yet you had a brilliant battle with Chris Alcock, you had Chris Hackworth, Jordan coming out of nowhere from 11th to finish 2nd. I mean, that was probably another exciting race that we had with you guys in the Inters.
Yeah, it was a good race. It was nip and tuck for the whole hour. I mean, I think the top 5 or 6, our lap times, just listening to the guys and finding a bit more out, there was literally half a tenth in it. So credit to Daytona and Richard and the team, because the parts, from what I saw, were really consistent and really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's always disappointing to go backwards. You know, you qualify P2, you're kind of expecting to be battling, and for the first 10 minutes I could see I was on Bobby. He was only 2 or 3 kart lengths in front, and I was thinking, okay, so if I can stick in his toe, I'll see if I could break the guys behind. 10 minutes in, still had Hackworth on my bump, which is never a good place to be. And I thought, okay, let's see if I can pull Hackworth with me. And fair dues to Chris, he put a really clean move on me down at the bottom of the circuit here. And I think over 2 or 3 laps I just broke the toe. I probably lost my head a bit, and that just pushed me back into the pack. And those 10 minutes, probably about 20 minutes in, cost me probably a podium, because I think from what I gather, lap time wise, we were all pretty consistent. So
I think with regards to the pace in qualifying, everyone stepped it up another notch for the race. So we saw times quicker than qualifying, especially with Bobby doing a 45.7. I mean, despite that, with consistency and also having a full race this time around, must have been better, because it still keeps you going. You know, we've still got another couple of rounds of the championship left to go. You're still gunning for that win, aren't you?
The goal this year, I took my first podium in DMAX last year. The goal this year was to take the first win. I've taken a heats win. Chris Alcock asked me during the week, what's your, put your life on it, what would you pick? And I said, if I had to, the Enduro win is the one that I want. So that if I really was put on the chopping block, that's the one I'm after. It doesn't leave me in a bad position in the championship, but we'll see. I think when I came into it today, I was 6th after Wilton because I had a DNF. I don't know where that will leave me today. I think with drop scores, I'm probably still in the top 6. I think, but it's so tight at the top. I think Bobby's probably got a run on most of us now with his win today. Tor was 2nd, but he's not had his strongest day today, and I think Sandown's a strong track for him. So we'll see how he goes for the rest of the year. But Hackworth pulling through, Jordan Taylor coming through, and a couple of others. It's mixed it up again, so it's going to be tough.
Okay, so that's it from Mike Copping, but Jake's over with Tor Ryan at the moment about his race today.
Yes, Tor Ryan, it was a tricky race, that one. It was always going to be difficult starting where you were, but then it all kind of came to a head when something fell off the cart. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, I think I lost a baffle in the exhaust on turn 8, I believe it is. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think it actually affected my pace, but it got in my head. I had 2 laps. I think I thrown my toys out, which was slow. I was catching on Mike. I was watching as he was coming around this final set of corners. Each lap I was gaining maybe 2 or 3 karts, and I still had half an hour to go, which was good. And then as soon as the exhaust failed, in my head, that was it. I thought I was going to be black flagged and pulled in. Fortunate enough, It was just the baffle on the end, so it was just noisier, not actually doing any damage to the kart. But by that point, he'd gapped me again, and yeah, I just wasn't going to catch him in time, unfortunately. But still good points.
I was just going to say, you have to take the positives. That's points in the bag, and you know you're still relatively in touch. If you'd have DNF'd, you probably wouldn't be.
Yeah, exactly. That's what frightened me halfway through. I thought, no, this is going to be 0 points, but yeah, qualified 7th, came 7th, so I'm happy with that. Unfortunate, I'd like a win today. Bobby's gone and extended the lead again, but we've got three more rounds yet. We should be fine.
That's the attitude. Good man. Well,
Cheers.
Absolutely. With 3 rounds to go, the championship's still very much alive in the Daytona DMAX Inter Enduros, and we're still very excited as to what could happen next. Don't forget, if you want to race in the Daytona DMAX Inter Enduros or any of the classes at all, let's head to the website, daytonadmax.co.uk, and maybe we'll see you on the grid next month.